eat a spoonful of peanut butter with butter on it for like a fat bomb.
Spoonful of peanut butter with butter on it.
Welcome to Camping for Assholes.
So I tried keto, like hardcore keto, from the first of the year up until Halloween. Like, did it like to a T. I lost what was it, like 83 pounds, and it felt great to finally be free of that shit. And now I've been off keto, and I've slowly creeped back up and back up and back up. And I keep trying, but I can't get it locked in again. It's such a mental fucking battle to get back in that mindset, that killer mindset that I had going the first time. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever done the sling or the up down dieting or whatever, but is it normal to like suffer or to struggle the second time through? I thought it would be easy, because you did it. So you're like, oh, I know I can do this. But I almost feel like that's holding me back from doing it again.
But just remember, it's not your body that's struggling, it's your brain, and that never goes away.
Yeah, like that's it's a real bit of a kind of a, it's like it's like, I don't know if that's like the same thing with addiction or not. Or
It
like
is.
you feel like you're free of something, and then
totally addiction.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, you are probably, your mind is justifying itself. Even you may not be actively think about it. You lost that weight, and your mind's like, I'm still good. I'm not there yet. Didn't get back to where I was. I'm still doing good. And that's what it does.
Yep, that's exactly what my dietitian tells me all the time. If you tell yourself I did it before, I can do it again, all you're really saying is I can start tomorrow.
Right.
Like, it's really it.
Yeah.
And like the hard part with mine is I did keto when I lost like 120, and I had to stop because the medication I'm on, I just can't eat that way. I take like, between my mental health and like the medications I'm on for other health stuff, I take like 14 medications, and I have to be really careful about what I eat, but I can't eat keto. Like I just can't. So now I have to go at it a whole different way, but it's basically just, I'm on like crazy portion control. So
I feel like that's the worst when you have to.
It is. Keto is super easy because you just felt it, like you still had energy, so you could just feel it go. And now I have no energy, like none. Like I'm drinking coffee at 10:30. No joke.
Oh, all the coffee we used to drink when we were kids at night. Caffeine fucks with me a lot nowadays, but yeah, it's a tough thing to break mentally, to like. I mean, I want to deep dive into the subject on you guys and like talk about like some of the terrible habits that like I know what I've done. If I almost want to have like a confessions thing, like let's confess.
Oh yeah.
Because the things that I would eat, and I would like, there's the movie Austin Powers, Spy Who Shagged Me. I think the fat bastard like starts like getting sad. It's like a big joke. He's just like, I can't stop eating. And when he said that line, it was like funny, but it's fucking true for me. Like I go into like this feeding frenzy sometimes where it's just like nothing makes me full. I'm just like digging in that. I said Halloween for a reason, because it broke me, because I was just like, I had one fucking candy bar. I was like, I'm going to eat one little candy bar on Halloween because I've been doing this for this long. I lost all this weight. Hell yeah, I'm going to treat myself to this one candy bar. I ate 20 some candy bars that day. Just gorged. Nothing changed. It went right back to the same. Within a day, my mindset was destroyed. And I'm struggling with that. Like, how do you rein that in? How do you get back on track to like really? And I don't want to keep whining about my own. I want to hear you guys' stories too. Like, see what similarities we have and all that kind of stuff. So,
my worst day on Thanksgiving last year, I think, was when I really like called it and got counseling. But I think last year on Thanksgiving, I did a weigh-in and I gained 4.5 pounds in one day. 1 day. Like that was the worst for me so far.
Yeah. I know I travel a lot for work. So I constantly make myself like the most pissy excuses. Now I don't pay for my meals at all, which is a mistake for one. Someone who has an eating addiction like I do. Right? I don't pay for any of my meals. What does that mean? That means I can eat as much as I want, wherever I want, when I'm working. I can try this place, this place, this place. And I actually panic when I fucking travel because I want to eat. I want to try it all. And I literally, and I'm sure you guys have done this, you go to pick out a restaurant and you'll be eating your food you picked and you'll be looking at another restaurant like, oh man, I should have done that. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know?
I've done it.
And yeah, I've done it too. I do it all the time. And it's, dude, totally crazy. I'm like big time deja vu right now. But I have a problem with like missing out. I feel like I'm missing out when I eat something that I could have had something else. And that's just so weird. Like I'll eat Taco Bell or something, right? And then I'll be like, I'll feel like shit and be so mad at myself. But like that doesn't fix anything, right? Because you're gonna go right back at it, and I'll go back to Taco Bell the next day. As you're going to the drive-thru, you're telling yourself like, just get this, just get that, and then it just you have this battle in your head all the way up to the drive-thru, and then it just and you're just like, oh, everything, you know, you're just like I'll have it all.
Everything.
I can't. I have a hard time defeating it, and the only way I've been able to beat it is just not go. And I haven't been traveling in a while, and I'm actually leaving on Monday, and I'm a little worried about it because I've been doing really good. But you just at that point, I think it's just willpower, just not staying away from it. Period.
I've over-ordered shit and then just hoped I'd throw some of it away when I get home. Like I've actually had that fight with myself. Like I'll just throw some of it away or like not eat it and hope my wife gets it out of the fridge, and then I'll just eat it before she gets home, and then hope I can throw the wrappers away before she sees them.
Yeah, I've gone through fast food places and eaten stuff, and then hit it, and then like come home and eaten dinner.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
Yep.
But yeah, the drive-through, the only thing that I managed to stick with, and it's weird, but like somehow when I go through fast food now, I still don't get a bun. That's the only thing I've made. Like that's my little victory. It's like I got used to like not eating bread, which I guess if I fell back into that, I'd probably be right back where I started. But the idea of feeling full or whatever is still a problem. And that's how I feel. When I'm bored, I want to munch on food. And then when I go and I eat shit food, I want to eat a lot of it. So,
see, and they actually put me on a medication now where like I don't eat lunch anymore. Like it just makes me feel stuffed all the time. Like I just can't eat now. Like I have supper and that's it. And it's like you guys haven't seen me in a while because like it's gotten to the point now where we finally got help because like we don't go out to eat anymore because I don't want people to see me. Like I don't eat in front of people anymore. Like we don't like I'm up to like I got like I'm four I think I'm down to 405 now. I've lost like 26 pounds but I've only been doing this for like 2 months, I think. But
well, that's still a big deal. 26.
Yeah, it's got a big I do a mile every day now, but like it got to the point where like I'm 39 and we were having the conversation with my doctor about like, hey, if you want to make it to like 45, like you got to start having the conversation, you know, like you got to start changing stuff. So it was like, we were sitting there one day and like my wife and I took a walk like 3/4 of a mile and like I couldn't, like we got done and I was gasping. Like I just had to run from like a cop car down a dark alley. Like, and I had to buy compression socks so I wasn't getting like shin splints and like falling over and stuff. So it was a pretty eye-opening thing. And then it was just like no more soda, like cutting out shit like that. And I can't believe how good I feel just from not drinking soda. Like that was fucking nuts how that one little thing.
Sure.
Just crazy.
I had a scare moment. We had some guys up north and I took them to a shipwreck to snorkel. And I put on an old wetsuit that I couldn't fit in. It was tight as fuck. And I jumped into the water. It was cold, and I felt like it was like a panic attack that hit me while I was in the water. And I managed to get back into the boat, and I just lay there, and I had to like just talk myself through this like chest pain and like breathing, and I was just like really fucking scared. I was like, I've never had that my whole life. And it's amazing because it was like that week I ate healthy and I quit smoking, and I was like, hell yeah, here we go. And then a week later, right back to eating, and it was just like it will fucking kill you. It will like it'll literally kill you if you keep on the path. Like I have a picture of me holding my son that I look at every now and then, where it's just like he's like basically like way out here on my big belly, and I'm just holding him because I was at 323 pounds at my biggest. I'm 5'10", so that's pretty round, and I just I couldn't see it. I didn't realize I was at that point. And now, like coming off and coming down, I can look back and be like, "Holy shit!" Because I never felt like the guy that couldn't do things or like be, do a cartwheel or fucking swim or like be active. I always felt like I was active as hell, more so than most people I know. And then it started to dawn on me. My neighbor actually, I said something. I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to do this." And I'm like pretty active, and he like looked at me. He's like, "Not active." And I was like, yeah. And he gave me some hard truth. He was like, "You don't fucking do anything." I was like, "Oh shit, I don't."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as Hunter, I don't know what your history is, if you have any even, but
No,
Do you have any history?
I always struggle. It's kind of like, no, I'm just a nobody. No, I mean, I've always, in high school, I was like 195, 200. And, when I got into college, obviously I started drinking beer and everything. And, when you're in college and you get like a free meal pass to go to the fucking commons, just basically gorge yourself. It's free food, basically, in a sense. You have a meal plan, so you don't have to worry about it. And I really packed on the pounds and, started kind of getting lazy and shit. And I don't know, it's like I always have like this, like, like a wave, like riding the wave. Like you said, it's like almost like a mental thing. Like I'm like, oh, sweet. I dropped down to like 230 because I was like walking a lot and stuff. And I was kind of like, portioning my meals and not like eating till I felt like a pile of shit. And then I like kind of like, oh, I'm okay now. I can just, back off a little bit because I'm fine. And then all of a sudden it's like a month later, I jump on the scale and I'm like 250 again. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do different? Like, I felt like I was doing something. I don't know if it's just mental, but I think it's like, I used to work in Green Bay, and it's like I drove by like 5 different fast food places like on the way home. And it was like you said, like sometimes I would like stop at T-Bell and be like, yeah, I can like wolf down like 2 burritos. I'll just get like the dollar menu burritos and I'll be fine. They're not that big. And then it's like, oh fuck, I haven't had a quesarito in a while. Maybe I'll grab that. And then it's like I grab one of those and then a fucking double decker taco. And it's like, fuck, I just got like $10 worth of food. And like then I go home and I don't want to tell my wife that I ate like a bunch of fast food and shit like that. So then she like makes supper and I'm like, well, I got to eat it. Otherwise she's going to be like, how are you not hungry? Like you just came back from work. So then I like eat more food and I'm like, I don't know. I just like, I have like a problem with knowing when to back off. I think, I've always like, it's weird. Like I've never gotten like over like 255. Like, I don't know what it is. Like I don't change my eating style or anything, but it's like, it's almost like a glass ceiling for me. Like I can't go above that. I have no idea what it is. I can drop down, but then I always like bounce back and I like rebound to that weight, which is like, I think the most, I guess, frustrating thing because I just can't, I don't know if it's mental or if it's just me not being, I guess, strong enough willed to do it, but I'd love to drop, but it's like, I just feel like I always like rebound for some reason.
One thing that really helped me out was learning about intermittent fasting. I don't know if any of you guys ever try this, but
Yes.
that was a huge game changer for me when I apply it, but it's hard to stick to it. The other thing that has worked for me that I'm actually, as we speak right now, I avoided it this last week because of shame. And that's getting on the fucking scale and looking at where you're at. Like they say, oh, don't watch the scale, but I think it's good at least once a week to step on the fucking thing and like analyze the situation. Like that's just how I always feel like if you don't do that and you're not paying attention to your diet, then you go like a month and then what you said, Hunter, happens. You get on it and you're like, oh shit, like went too long fucking off, or whatever it is. I think the biggest things I'm fighting with now is honestly like drinking is kind of tied in with this weight problem of mine currently. I always have my worst eating days tied in with drinking, and I don't know if that's gonna have. If I can't get that under control, I feel like that's something I'm probably gonna have to like drop. I actually have to quit because it's an enabler in my head. It just like, oh, you feel fucking awesome. Have a Kit Kat. Have another Kit Kat. 5 more Kit Kats. It just keeps going. You can't stop. And then it's like, and on top of that, I'm eating keto yet, trying to. So it's like I'm fucking up with carbs. And then like I'll eat a spoonful of peanut butter with butter on it for like a fat bomb. And then it's just like this mixed messaging thing going on. And it man, why can't there just be like, just why do something, and it definitely, more people suffer from this than others, and some people have a stronger metabolism than others. Those are all things, but like, I don't understand. I because I'm not that type of person that can just like go and eat like one thing and just be settled with it, and they don't like, oh, I don't eat at night. Like my wife is kind of like that. She doesn't like overeat. She's real reasonable with every choice she makes in food, and I'm just like, I don't understand how you can just like always be on that level where like, oh, you're gonna have a piece of cake, but then like you're gonna eat smart all the time and never like you never think about food. I'm always thinking about food. It's
because we're addicted to food.
It really comes down to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like even when I
Quick Trip hotspot's been bad.
Fuck.
Like I fancy myself a pretty decent cook, and I cook the family like these wonderful dinners. And I'll cook, and all I'm thinking about as I'm plating the food, or even if I'm cooking the food, is will there be enough for me? Right? And then I'll sit down and I'll give myself a portion. Like just last week, I made like a curry green bean side with a Alaskan halibut, right? And I had a nice little fillet of halibut. And I'm sitting there and it's really delicious. And I finished my plate and I gave myself like the correct portions, and I'm like, well, that can't be all. Like who? And it's exactly the amount I should have had. And I'm watching the kids, I'm watching them eat. And I'm like rooting that one of the kids don't finish dinner. And it's it's so fucking pathetic, right? Like, but these are the thoughts that go through my head, It's like I can't even cook dinner without going, I want to make sure there's more in case, which is not in case. It's because you're gonna fucking be a piece of shit and eat more, But just in case, and
Who's the lazy fucker that didn't buy more halibut?
So there was one really sad story that I remember this day. So my ex-girlfriend and I, we ordered a pizza, and this came out of my mouth. This is how fucking sick I was. And Josh, you're laughing right. Good.
I know this story.
I don't know if you know this story or not. It's a tough one to admit. This is like really like shitty. Like when I think about this, it's like one of those things where you think about your past that makes you uncomfortable and sick to your stomach. That's one of these stories right now. I remember ordering a pizza, and then it was a stuffed crust pizza. And I looked over at my ex-girlfriend and I said, okay, you get 3 pieces, I get the rest. Like I made that a statement out loud that I get more because I'm fatter, and like that's what I'm gonna eat, and like fuck you, even if you want more, you can't have it. Like I need more than a half of a stuffed crust pizza. Like I said that, and we're not together anymore, and maybe I was just too much of a piece of shit then, or what. I mean, I'm happily married now, but like my God,
did something dumber than that.
Right. But that thought process is so like thinking about it now, it's like it was so sick and twisted. Like who the fuck says that? Who the fuck orders a whole pizza and concerned that they're not going to get way too much of it?
I used to do the food math to make sure I ordered enough food, like that it was more than anyone could eat. So I had leftovers plus, so I could have like the 9:30 snack, like for sure.
Oh yeah, the 9:30 snack.
The 9:30 snack is a fucking like a meal or two's worth usually for me.
You bet.
Not a snack at all. It's a second dinner.
Yep.
And I mean, and you said I'll tell you a horrible story. I've always told half this story, but like
Yeah, confess.
Yeah, this is therapy. So it's one time I just like, like some days you feel like, you haven't changed your weight, but some days you just feel like I look good today. And some days you just feel fucking fat. Like you're not even fat, like you feel loose, like
Yes,
your,
yes.
your skin just feels loose. And I was having one of those loose days, and I went to work, and I'm just like, oh man. And so I went on my lunch break, and I sat in my car and smoking cigarettes. And God forbid I can't just smoke. I have to eat something and then smoke, because that makes smoking better. And so I go over the old Taco Bell, and I'm looking at the menu, and I didn't even look at the menu. Honest to God, this is what I did. I closed my eyes, and I did this for myself so I could just know what I wanted. I closed my eyes. I think I ordered about 5 or 6 things. This is a lunch break. Ordered about 5 or 6 things. I think I've racked up a $28 bill for lunch at Taco Bell, which is ridiculous. Right? I got it. I got super excited. I put on fucking a YouTube video, sat in my car and scarfed it all down, and then choked on a cigarette, right? And I'm having these pains run down my side and gas, and I'm trying to fucking fart, and then I farted like really loud, right? And then I looked at myself in the mirror, and you look at yourself in the mirror, especially when you're fat, and you relax your face completely.
Yes.
You look like a fucking animal. You look like just a gross piece of shit. And I relaxed my face, and I swear to God, I felt like I looked like a Down syndrome. I'm not saying anything bad about Down syndrome people. That's what I felt like I looked like. And I started crying. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I couldn't control it. And I'm like, you fat piece of shit. Look at you. And I'm grabbing my boobs. I'm like, look at your fucking boobies. Like all this shit, right? So I'm like, I literally had a mental breakdown, and I'm bitching. I'm screaming at myself in the car. I start my car. I drive back around. I'm like, get another burrito. Go ahead. And I got another one, and I forced myself to eat it.
Oh no.
And I almost puked. I had to get back to work. And I went to work. I told him I wasn't feeling good, and I left, and I drove home. And there was a lot going on in my life then too, where I think contributed to my mental breakdown. But I literally had a mental breakdown. And
holy shit.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. That's fucking nuts. I mean, that's a sickness. That's a fucking sickness you have,
You will torture yourself for that shit, straight up. But it's like a love-hate relationship too. It's like, take me back. For real.
Yeah.
Take me back. I love
so
you,
good.
sour cream and cheese.
Oh God.
And I suffer from panic disorder. Right, not just anxiety. I suffer from panic disorder.
Right.
Where every day when I wake up, I think about death. Every night I go to sleep, I think about death. I've thought about death probably 10 times since we've been on this podcast. I deal with this. I have this fucking massively fear of dying, right? And it's the unknown or whatever. But I give myself constant symptoms. My body. Jared knows this. I think I've called the ambulance for things I swear to God I was dying, and I wasn't. But I am killing myself. And it's amazing that here's something I have a fucking fear of. I'm just deathly afraid of dying. And I know this every time I go in the drive-thru, or every time I eat something really shitty or something high in sodium or high in fat, and I eat it. And I'm giving myself anxiety because I'm eating this shit, and I still don't care. And it's fucking horrible.
That's addiction. I mean, in a weird way.
You present yourself with evidence, and then you counter, you literally cross-examine yourself. You play a court case out in your fucking head.
Yeah.
So and then the smoking is, you still smoke, Josh, right? So there's that on top of it too.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of freak out about death every now and then, but I saw something in a movie one time that kind of made me think. It kind of eased my mind a little bit about it. So I'm kind of curious. Do you guys remember what your life was like in 1806?
I wasn't alive, Jared.
Right.
What life was like?
So that's worst case scenario. You know what I mean?
That's terrifying to me.
Is it? I just made it worse.
That's absolutely terrifying.
Sorry, it's nothing. It's
Jesus
like
Christ.
Jared's gonna start writing 1806 on everything in his paper. 1806, 1806.
I'm sorry. I was trying to help.
Are you a Scientologist, Jared?
And it
No.
sucks because like I'm not even like I'm really not like I'm not religious at all. And I'm just praying to God I'm wrong.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I'll take hell at this point. I don't want it to end.
Well, I definitely believe in the afterlife, so that kind of gives me like some insight on,
Yeah, I need some of that.
we should probably
That's another topic, maybe, huh?
yeah, well, we can revisit a whole death day if we want to.
I'm gonna skip.
You're gonna
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that might be a bad idea.
Hunter, do you have any like really just sad eating stories where you broke down into tears or?
He's like, no, you guys.
I don't know. I mean, I
weird.
think
Like, no, you guys are really fucking disgusting.
I just had problems. No.
You're the
No, I
normal
used to
one
like
in the
do shit
group.
like that. Like it was always like, no, I had a huge problem with just like I just don't know when to stop. Kind of in a sense. Like I know it's like I've always, like I said, I always had like that glass ceiling, but like at work when I first started working at my current job, like it was a joke. We found like this hidden menu thing online, and it's like the most disgusting like food ever, and it's just like 3,000 calorie burger or something like that from like McDonald's that you ask them to make, and they literally have to make it. And I would just eat like 3 times a week and like not really think anything of it. And like I don't know, it's I just have like a willpower issue, I think, just of like not doing it. Like I like eating healthy, but it's just I feel like it's the convenience and like having to like sit there and like make a salad and like cut all the shit up to put into it and like fry a steak up and do all this stuff. Like I'm not like trying to make an excuse with having kids, but it just seems like with having kids I don't have time to like meal prep and do all that shit. It's like I'm selfish. I want to have like I want to be able to relax at the end of the night and like watch a show instead of maybe I should go in the kitchen and fucking like prep a few, like cook some chicken breasts for the week. And like, I like think about it to myself, but like, I don't do it. Like, and I never have. And it's just like, it's all the time I think about it. I'm like, God, I'm just such a piece of shit. Like, why don't I just do this? Like I feel like it's right there. Like the door is open. I can like walk through it, but I just don't want to in a sense. And it's like, I hate myself for it. And like, I always tell myself, I tell Jackie, I'm like, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start losing weight again. I want to get down to like 210 for probably like the last 8 years we've been like married. And I've just never have like really like 10, 15 pounds is like the most I've ever dropped. And then it just goes right back up. And like, I know it's willpower because like there's literally times like you said, Josh, like I argue with myself like on the way home from work. I'm like driving and I know the exact spot in De Pere where I know I can see the Taco Bell from the road I'm in. And I stare at it. I'm like, I could just pull in there quick. I'll grab something down to my time. There looks like there's no like, I'll like debate. Like if there's 2 cars in the drive through, I'll go up. If there's more than that, I'm not going to get it. And like sometimes I'll go up and there's like 3 cars. I'm like, well, that guy looks like he's going up. Like it's like pathetic. Like I look back, like I haven't, like, it's like I'm like making like these like, goal, like not goals, but like, kind of like points where it's like, I'll go if there's only 2 cars in the driveway. And you look back at that and you're like, why can't I just like not go and get the fast food? Like I'm making an excuse. Like, I don't want to take too much time if there's 3 or 4 cars, then I won't go and like, order 3 fucking quesadillas or something like that. Like then I won't do it. But if there's only 1 car, then I'm for sure I'm going to go fucking gorge my face in. So it's like, I don't know. And it's like, I think at that point really hit me once when I was starting to like debate with myself if I should do it or not. And I didn't go and there was no cars in the drive through. And like, it almost like hit me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what am I doing right now? And like, I just drove right by it. And like, it was like, I have a 40-minute drive home from work and I just sat there like staring, like turned the radio off completely. And I'm like, God, like I have an issue. Like I stopped drinking pop completely after that. I know there's soda, pop, whatever. I'm from the other side of Wisconsin, but I stopped drinking that. I don't drink any or eat any like candy or I know, sorry, any candy or sugar. I try to stay away from that stuff. And like beer, I've really like, I know I'm drinking a few tonight, but like I don't drink really at all anymore. Like, if you come to my house, I probably have like 3 beers in my fridge. The only time I get beer is like when I know like we're having people over or something like that, and I'll buy like a 12-pack just so, we can grill out and have a few. But other than that, I'd like try to like cut out all that shit just because that moment was kind of like just an eye-opening experience. Like I have no control that I'm arguing with myself and like setting like these weird goals or rules that why I cannot eat or when I can eat. Like it just seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You ever go through the drive-through?
Yeah.
You ever go through the drive-through and get mad because there's other people that just want to eat too? I get so mad.
Yeah, when the people that sit like 15 minutes.
Well, no, I mean, like, there's like, you go to like, oh, we got to get some fast food quick. And then there's like 8 cars there and you're just like pissed off because other people are trying to eat food.
Like, fucking order, Pam. Get your cheeseburgers for you fucking stupid kids. Like,
well, and you do this shit too. I've done this, dude. I've literally have done this, and it's like the epitome of hypocritical. Like you go there and you're just like see like a fat woman in front of you, and she gets a big bag of food. And you're like, geez, what a fat ass! And you go and you're on your way there. I'm on my way.
Meanwhile, I'm there ordering food and asking them to put the 2 orders in 2 separate bags so they think they're not both for me. Like, no joke. And I'm ripping on the lady with 4 kids.
And and here's the other thing too is I've done this once because I finally come to a point of reckoning, and I've come to a point of acceptance with drive-through service. Because I don't care what people say. They're like, oh, it's just you're getting older. No, drive-through service has gotten plenty worse. Like I've watched it deteriorate in front of me. It's horrible. Regardless, I've come to a point where I accept it for exactly what it is. To walk in and bitch at a fucking fast food employee for not having the right cheese sauce on your fucking burrito or sandwich or whatever it is, it's shameful. What you're eating is fucking the filth of the earth. It's the bottom of the barrel shit. It all tastes the same. Did that barbecue sauce on your fucking McDouble really make your day? Like, did it make your day? Did it make your McDouble that much more delicious where you're like, you can walk out of that place and you're like, oh, thank God, yippee. Like, it's fucking so cringy. And I used to get mad at like fast food places, and like I don't anymore because you get what you deserve. Like, you really do.
Made in a 950 gallon vat. Like,
yeah, like
it's not artisan barbecue sauce.
I'm always
Jared, that remind me of.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I remember. I think this was you and me. We used to deliver beer. Didn't we used to do like the Sheboygan Road on like family night at McDonald's? And it was like you could order like 50 McNuggets, and it was like $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Stop at that one right off the exit in Manitowoc, and you and I would just like order 250 fucking things of McNuggets, and I think we'd eat it. Like when we pulled back into Hendrix, we'd just sit there and eat. And just I look back, I'm like, good God, 50 fucking McNuggets. Like,
I used to eat the
that was kind of going off your point, Josh.
I used to eat the big breakfast or whatever they have at McDonald's. What is that called? It was like pancakes, sausage, eggs.
Big breakfast with hotcakes.
Yeah. Yes. The bigger breakfast.
Yeah, I used to eat the big one, and then I did that Monday through Friday when I worked at Hendrix, and I was wondering why I was gaining so much weight. Well, lo and behold, that has over 1,000 calories in it. I was eating it every day as the starter meal to my day. That didn't include the fucking burgers I'd get at lunch, and then all the beer I'd drink at work because we were beer salesmen, so we always had a pile of beer. I blew up so much from there because like I started at Hendrix at like probably like 205 pounds, and I think I left there at 290.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, fast foods. I still get mad when they fuck things up, though. Because
I don't even care anymore. I'm like, I'll just fucking eat it. Like, I don't care.
Just eat the shit.
I get mad because there's always somebody like on my Facebook feed or somebody fighting for higher pay for those jobs, and it's like, well, you can't even get like the order right. And I'm more of a snob about it now because I'm ordering bunless and I'm ordering like things that are a pain in the ass. So like I really want that because if you don't do it right, if you don't do it right, I can't eat it now. So it's like, I'm sorry.
I say we give it to him for 2 weeks and see how it goes. Like you get $15 an hour for 2 weeks, but I want fucking gourmet sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, even if you bitch at the
Yeah, I
kid,
want
he's
the,
just
I want the
like,
sandwiches on the menu.
I want the little
Like,
toothpick with the flag.
the kid's just gonna be like, "Fuck you," and he's gonna fuck the next customer over even harder, probably. You know, it's just like I'm sick of yelling at kids and getting that blank look.
Sorry about that. I was gonna say they really screwed up my. They didn't screw it up. Okay, so I had this moment where I was going to order something. It was a breakfast sandwich. We were on the road for a show, so I went up to the counter and I was like, "Hey, can I get what is it, sausage and egg McMuffin with no muffin?" And they just stared at me blankly. I was like, "No, like I just don't want the muffin on it. Just the meat, cheese, and the egg." And she didn't know what to do, and I maybe I'm probably in the wrong, but I was so fucking pissed off that a simple request like that couldn't just be done.
Didn't you just order it and then just take the muffin off?
I did. I was like, never mind, I'll just do it myself. Which is how I should have handled that from the get-go.
Put 2 of them up your ass.
If I'm at like a
That's right.
sit down restaurant, I mean, I'll bitch. I don't bitch. I say something, you know, but fast food, I think you have it coming.
It's the worst is when they give you attitude back though when you kind of say something. It like that just really fucking like normally I'm not want to say something, but Jackie is like, no, I'm like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I really don't care. And she's like, no, we're gonna say something, and they just give you like that fucking look, and it's like, now I'm kind of pissed off. Like you fucked my order up. I wasn't gonna say anything. My wife did, and now you give me this fucking attitude. Go fucking fix it, bitch.
Yeah. Oh shit.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, but you know what I'm struggling with now? I got the food thing under control for the most part. What I really struggle with is actually like sugary drinks. That is like the thing I am struggling with the most. I don't know what it is. Like even today, it's like the same thing with food. Now I didn't
Like
eat
pop
any
or
fast food
energy
today.
drinks?
I don't even like soda. It's like I drink so much juice, you know? Like today, like Wendy's has Dave's handcrafted lemonades. Those things are so fucking delicious. I dropped off my son today and I'm driving back home and I'm like, Jesus Christ, a Dave's handcrafted strawberry lemonade sure sounds good. and just like it was food, I got no food, but I had to have the big, large thing of just pure sugar. And I pounded that down today. I didn't drink any water today. Nothing. My piss is going to be orange when I wake up, I'm sure. You know, like my kidneys are just screaming. Crafted strawberry lemonades. Boy, oh boy, are they delicious.
So do any of you drink seltzer water? Like, have any of you trained yourselves to like
I
it?
hate it.
I kind of
tried.
do every now and then. Unfortunately, I'm still a smoker, so every now and then if I have to have something bubbly to like not feel gross in the throat area, I drink a bubbly, but I don't prefer them.
There's a little trick I do with them. You can get the sweetener erythritol, which doesn't cause any kind of insulin spike. It's a little pricey, but you mix that in with it kind of makes like a sweet soda out of it. It's something I always wished they would have made. I never understood why you either had diet soda or you had all soda. Why isn't there like 50 soda, like 50% soda? You know, just a 50% sweet soda.
This is my problem with all these sweeteners, right? The stuff that's been on the shelf the longest, like Splenda, it's horrible for you, right?
Oh, it's disgusting too.
Aspartame,
Yeah.
horrible for you, right? And then now this shit. I'm telling you, this shit's gonna end up being fucking horrible for you one way or the other.
Erythritol
You know?
is one of the
Yeah.
better ones. So is stevia. Stevia is also
Right now until they do more studies and figure out that it's not.
But they're based off a
I use
natural
monk fruit.
Monk fruit too is another one. Monk fruit's a good one.
I don't know. I mean, sugar's natural too, and that shit fucks you up.
Yeah.
Sugar is linked to like a lot of the problems that you think like fat and red meat.
It kills
meat
you.
would-
I mean,
yeah.
sugar will straight up just that will give you a heart attack. You know, like sugar will straight up kill you. You know, I don't know.
Keep in mind we're all half educated men here who don't really know. Like,
Yeah.
sugar may kill you.
I'm so frustrated with like sweeteners and this and that because every time I go on and read something about it or whatever else, it's just like either A, like you said, Jared, it's like super expensive, or B, it's not good for you, or it's like, well, can I have just a little bit of sugar? And it's just like, I need to cut it out. Period. I just need to go. like 3 months, I think, maybe, with just drinking water and forcing. Again, it's willpower, like forcing. Because dude, a cold water. Here's my problem. I do this shit. I buy a case of water because nobody really drinks it, and I fucking throw it down in the back by the laundry room. It never ends up in the fridge. So that's the first step, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want cold water to drink. You know?
Do you ever hear of liquid death?
My
It's
brother
yeah.
buys that stuff.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
a
it?
can. It's a can of water. It comes in this cool can, and like a lot of it goes to charity and stuff. But like I watched Bert and Tom on their Two Bears One Cave, and they're always drinking it. They say it tastes better out of the can, and like it's supposed to be like a
It's
mental.
ridiculously
Is it
expensive.
carbonated?
It's like
No.
$15 for a 12-pack or something like that.
Oh my god.
No, it's just
It's
literally
like
water. I'm pretty sure.
cans
Isn't it?
of purified water. Like they have those water bottles that have the UV lids now that you can basically like put cold water in them, push the UV lid, and it basically sterilizes the water with UV and it self cleans the bottle. Those are pretty cool because you can, like, if you're camping or whatever, you can get like questionable stream water and basically kill all the bacteria in it. Like, I like those because I'm not a big plastic guy, but I find that way if I put water in the fridge, I'm like you. If it's cold, I'll pile down like a gallon a day, and that's kept me drinking water as opposed to sucking soda down all day.
When I'm fasting, I really, really like a lot of water. Like that helps a shit ton to get through those hunger pangs. And like, it's funny, like I try to do it 3 times a week at least, and it's like, 18-hour fast 3 times a week, and a lot of times it goes farther, but every time I successfully get past 18 hours, I have the worst diarrhea of my life. It just explodes out of my ass, and it is pure water, and I think it's maybe overhydration or something, but that's tough. Nobody talks about that. They're like, oh, you should do fasting. It's like, well, then why am I like feel like I'm dying every time I'm just about done with it? But
That's exactly why.
it's just cleaning me out, I guess.
Yep.
Is your body just not used to it? Because I know I was looking at a bunch of diets recently, and one of my buddies suggested the carnivore diet. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Joe Rogan did it, and he said the same thing. Like he got in the best shape he's ever been in, but he said like that first like month of eating it, like he literally like shit himself like fucking like all the time. Like it was just, I don't know if it's just your body's just not used to just processing like straight fucking meat 24/7, but. And I looked at that. I'm like, I could probably do that. But then I looked at just how much I'd fucking spend on like food. And it's like, God, I could never fucking afford that. Like, fucking steaks, chickens, like it'd be impossible, really.
Well, go catch your own meat. Go get a fishing pole, and maybe when you go hunting, if you get it, I don't know if you go hunting, but get a deer. You're like, all right, I'm doing the carnivore diet till this deer's gone. That's our ancestors, or like how people lived in the world. That was kind of like. The body is kind of designed to be that way. You're kind of set up for eating a bunch of shit, putting on weight, and then fasting because you're not going to get food. That's the natural way your body is set up to do things.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like how far we got away from that. And it's like the American standard diet or whatever they call it. When you look at how that was built up, like, and the reasons behind why they want you to eat so many breads and all this shit is like so wrong to how we're built. So I think that's why keto made a lot of sense to me, because it felt like more primal and appropriate. And I started when I went into it, I started eating like the weirdest thing. I was sucking out bone marrow and eating fats of all this shit, and like eating livers and trying skins and all these weird things you just don't normally think to eat. And it felt great. It really felt fucking great. Like just good greens and like fats and good meats was like felt great. I didn't miss fruit that much, and you still can have some on it, so it wasn't like a total loss. Like strawberries and blueberries and stuff like that, raspberries were all on the table, just the natural grazing things you'd find in the wild anyway. But the carnivore diet's been kind of tickling at my mind a little bit, but I don't know about that diarrhea. That's the only thing I hate about fasting. What's the craziest diets you guys have tried? I did the 21-day fixed diet once. It was great for 21 days, and then I swear I gained all that weight back in a fucking 7 days.
Yeah, I did a seafood only diet, and it actually worked really well. But I just, beef, man, red meat. Like I get to a point where I'm like, because I've gone vegetarian for like 2 months, and I just cannot get. I don't know how people do it. I really don't, because I have such. I can like you can actually feel it. Like I know what my heart is telling me. It's just like you need meat. You know, like I don't know. Like it's not something that just goes away for me. Like I was 2 months in vegetarian, and it was I felt good. I felt great. I had a lot of energy. I was eating the right stuff, eating nuts. I lost a bunch of weight. And dude, fucking meat. I just, especially red meat. I couldn't say no to it, you know? But the fish diet was good, but I still crave that red meat. It wasn't as bad, but I like doing the seafood diet. That was a good one. But it's expensive when you got like children. You want to feed them all halibut.
You get scraps.
You get the stuff that falls out of my beard.
The flex.
They both lay on the floor with their mouths open underneath me while I eat. Please, Dad.
I do want to take on a 3-day fast at some point. That might be a little tough.
No.
Yeah,
I'm just, your brain, and so like it's almost like I did a 24-hour a couple of times, and like every time I've done that, I almost felt like stoned. You get to a point where like I don't know, it's like high ketone levels or what, but like it really puts you in this weird buzzing state of mind. It almost
Trance.
yeah. And then like the first thing I ate on that was coconut oil, and I had like an insane like I felt like I just did a line of coke. It was just like fucking like, it was all that pure energy from like a food source, like because you had nothing in your system, and you could when you do that, when you make if you make a 24-hour fast, it kind of like almost gets to the point of resetting you. So when you do bring in foods, it's very interesting to see like you can actually feel what they do, and like how you come out of it is like so important. But I don't know if keto was like the full effect of why I lost the weight. Sometimes I wonder if it was like a lot of the fasting too. You know, eating keto and then like fasting together seemed like a good combination. But I could see like a low carb or a Mediterranean diet or anything really, as long as like if you can do it a few different ways. Like keto works because I lost that weight without having to exercise, so I'm still unhealthy. But you could also just exercise and eat 2,000 calories a day and just limit it at that, because 2,000 calories a day is enough food. It's just most of us probably aren't used to only eating 2,000 calories of food a day. But if you do that and you exercise, well, then you're gonna lose weight. Scientifically, you will lose weight. But I mean, yeah, wrapping your head around the process of like, I guess ultimately my goal would be to just take away the power of food that it has over me. That's what I want.
Shit.
I just want it to not be so. I don't want it to be a thing in my life anymore. And it's still a thing, and that's annoying to me.
Yeah, I'm still hooked.
I guess
That's the
question
big
with
thing.
that.
I want to quit cold turkey, but it's not going to work because
Did
I'll
you guys
die.
grow up like eating? Did you guys like grow up eating like a lot of like different types of like food and shit like that, or was it kind of basic? Like, that's what I kind of look at myself. Like my grandparents, like whenever we'd go out, they're like, "Oh, let's order calamari," and like I felt like I just like grew a like really like kind of weird palate where I just appreciated food
I grew up
a
the
lot
same way.
more. That's like
Yeah.
part of my problem, where it's like I just love like I like Jackie, like she grew up like eating Hamburger Helper like fucking like every night. Where like I'm like, "Oh, we should try calamari," and she's like, "That sounds disgusting." I'm like, "Oh well, I really like like I feel like that's like part of my problem is like I got this wide spectrum of food, and it's like you just don't it's like you said, Josh, it's like, gosh, I wish I would have gone and eaten there because that fish on the menu looks fucking really good, or oh man, that steak over there looked fucking amazing. It's like I don't know if that's like part of my downfall. I just never be able to get away from because I just love food.
Yeah, no, I grew up the same way, and just having all these weird exotic flavors and stuff like that, and it really affects at home too, because it's like Heather, like she was her household ate out of the cannon box, like they had your normal whatever food, and their palate isn't her palate. She hates when I cook crazy, because she can't handle. I mean, Christ, I think I sprinkled pepper on their eggs once, and all the kids were crying. They were burning to death. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I cook with a lot of spice, but But and I wonder too, if it's another kind of piggybacking off of Hunter's thing. I was grown up, I had to finish my plate. I had to. And I had to finish my milk. And that's a whole other thing. And that ruined it for me. I haven't had a glass of milk, I think, since I was maybe 12. Because it used to make me finish my glass of milk and it would sit out and I wouldn't drink it and I'd throw a fit and I would have to drink warm milk every fucking night. And that tastes like wet dog. And I just don't want anything to fucking do with it. I don't drink milk now. But I wonder if that has an effect. You guys too. Like, were you raised to finish everything on your plate? And because I don't make the kids finish their plate anymore. Because I think it sends the wrong message. I don't know what you guys think.
I was raised hardcore like that. So like it was a weird situation for me because my family was mega poor. So if we were just hanging out at home, then it was box stuff. The advantage we had was that my grandparents, up until we were 16, had a meat market in Two Rivers, and we had that meat market in our family for a couple generations. So we grew up as kids having a butcher shop, and everyone in my family, my dad, my grandpa, butchers. So it was a family trade. So that was the one thing we got kind of spoiled on, is that we had everything meat wise. So we ate like behemoths as kids, which helps explain this. But I mean, I was this size by the time I was 18. So we got that, but we were the same way too. My grandparents were very hardcore. Like they had gone through the Depression, and it was very, you will eat everything on your plate, but we're also going to give you 9 pounds of food because we can afford to do that now. So enjoy the luxury, but also eat it all because it might not be here tomorrow. So that weird combination made me very fat.
I never had any, I had to finish and eat everything. We ate poor-ish. But it's hard to place if my family was poor or not, because I think they were just like lower middle class.
Yeah.
So it was a mix. We'd have grilled food once in a while, but a lot of times it was like ring bologna and potatoes, which is my most hated meal to this day.
Ugh.
Fuck
Yeah.
ring bologna.
Ring bologna.
But the problem was with my family was my mom always encouraged us to just she never paid attention to what we were eating. Like I would eat whole bags of potato chips when I was a kid by myself, and it didn't matter back then because I had so much energy and I was always running around with friends and doing all these things. I never put on a shitload of weight when I was younger. Now with my son, I'm seeing my mom do the same things, and I'm just like, you gotta knock it off. There's no she brags to me. Like, oh, Sawyer came over and he ate 4 pancakes and then he had 4 bananas and 4 cookies. We had ice cream and we did all these. I'm like, Mom, are you fucking crazy? Like, think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
He should have had 2 pancakes and maybe a fucking banana. That's it. But that's the mentality. That's how I see, when I was a kid and eating all that shit. I just got used to eating a lot of food. But at the time, I was running around like crazy. So it balanced out. And then when I got into high school, it's like I wasn't as that energetic kid anymore. I started getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And then I think I was 240 when I graduated. And then I went to, I moved out of my house, and then I lost a bunch of weight because I had to buy my own food. So I was, cereal was like, okay, I would eat cereal in the morning, and I'd have like a frozen pizza at the end of the day. And I just got used to just eating that. It wasn't healthy, but it wasn't a lot. And I lost a bunch of weight again. And I was like, cool. And then all of a sudden, start dating people and getting comfortable, and you get older, you got more money a little bit, you can start splurging. And then I had kids, and it just climbed and climbed and climbed. So that old mentality's back in my head again, where it's like, oh, I can eat all this shit, and it's like it's normal. It's normal to eat this much food. Except I have no energy I'm not doing anything. I'm not exercising. I'm not fucking running around. I'm not going. Sorry, that was a long-winded approach.
No, I mean, no, it hits home. I mean, when for me and you and all of us really, when I play with Lincoln, and there's moments where he's having a blast and I'm rough and housing with him, and then I'm dying on the floor and he still wants to go. That kills me, and I even do it sometimes. I'm like, no, not right now. Why? Are you serious? This kid's my kid's 4 and he's running circles around me. It's not okay, you know, and that's probably, you know, I've lost more weight this past year than I think I have my last 10 years. And that's been the one thing for me that's kind of, you know, now that I'm, you know, I'm in a really good marriage and things like that, like, you know, it seems, what seems to help with me is that finding things to be positive, because it's so easy to be negative about absolutely everything, right? So easy to find excuses and sad things to grapple onto, and combine that with food. And I've been trying this new, like, stay positive about everything. I know I play the character, I'm irritated with Jared all the time. I'm really not that angry, I promise you. Like, I'm a very, very happy fucking dude. And but like, I've noticed even changing my attitude a lot, because I was miserable for years, the last like 6 years before I, you know, met Heather and everything. And I was just fucking miserable and crabby, and I was just eating my heart out. And it's, I think a lot of it has to do with just your outlook on life and changing your attitude, and, you know, accepting things for what they are. And you know, it's not foolproof. I mean, I fuck up all the time. I fucked up today with Dave's fucking delicious handcrafted lemonade that's unhandcrafted. I saw him poured out of a bucket into a cup. It was awesome. But still, like, it's better than going, oh, I fucked up, what's the point? You know, you wake up every morning, you try again. And that's the whole thing with addiction, right? Like, it's never ends. You're never going to find the cure. There's no cure for us being addicted to food. None. We just got to fight it every day. And just knowing that, waking up, I think helps a lot. That's also me trying to wrap this up because I wanted the cigarette and dirt didn't warm. We were going to the second episode.
Yes. Yes.
I think we can end on that note. All right, guys, let's give food a rate. No, I'm just kidding. We'll just let it go. Of a shoe, a t-shirt, or fucking beach towel. No, all right. Thank you guys for watching this episode where we bared our soul a little bit.
Yeah, I think you just tricked me into a whole episode before I realized it happened.
Yeah.
I totally did.
I didn't really say much. You guys, I figured you'd figure it out.
It wasn't consensual, kid.
It's fine. All right, here comes the intro.